Peace. This is Jamal Robinson with 720astrology.com. Today's date is April 14th, 2024. At the time of recording this, it is 6:33 a.m. Central Standard Time. I want to talk about Mercury retrograde and raccoon symbolism. We've had a little family of raccoons above our bedroom ceiling for at least a couple of months now. And the problem has been getting increasingly worse as the mother raccoon basically burrowed herself in there in the winter in preparation for having her litter. They have their litter usually around March or April. So at first I thought may have been squirrels. And then the fact that they seemed to be active at night led me to believe, oh man, it's probably some raccoons up there in our ceiling. And my mind, the way it works, always looking for some type of meaning out of everything. In the midst of thinking how we're going to get them out of here, I started looking into the symbolism of raccoon. And a great book that I recommend regarding animal symbolism is called Animal Speaks or Animal Speak. And I looked through it and started reading some of the symbolism around the raccoon. And I learned that the word raccoon is believed to come from an Algonquin tongue or linguistic family. And it's the word arcanum, Arckunem. And arcanum means hand scratcher. And so that immediately had my brain racing, hand scratching, because the concept of scratching is very significant from a linguistic perspective. For one, when we use the term Christ coming from Mashiach, the term Christ originates from a root family spelled Gher, Ger. And this family is so prolific that it's broken into Roman numerals. I'm talking about from an Indo-European linguistic classification. And Ger, that family, the Roman numeral 1, where it begins, the root family Ger means, and I'm using this as my reference, one of my most treasured possessions, the origin of English words, scratch, scrape away, hence, rough surface, rub, smear, tinge. Now you hear the word rub also comes out of this family, this group. So there's a connection between rubbing and scratching. Why that's significance is the word anoint means to rub. And we know the Christ figure is referred to as the anointed one or the Mashiach. Mashiach means anointed. So here I have this character, this little animal, but we believe may be more than one at the time because we couldn't see. And this character, the name originates from a word that means hand scratcher. And that scratching also means rubbing. We're going to come back to that. One thing I want to mention regarding the raccoon and Mercury, as far as the connection and the relevance of those two. Mercury is the patron of merchants, shopkeepers, travelers, and also thieves. And one of the things that raccoons are known for is their thievery. They'll go and crawl into a trash can. They can open a door. If you got that little opening in the door where you let your dog or cat run in and out, they'll enter your house through that manner. They are burglars. So the raccoon that entered my home is like a little burglar or a thief who broke into the home and found a way to enrich itself or to secure the safety that it needed for itself and its family. So that's the thievery aspect of Mercury also connects to the intelligence of Mercury. To be a great thief, you have to be highly intelligent. You have to be very detail oriented. you have to be methodical and careful. So there's the Gemini and the Virgo aspects of Mercury that are incorporated into the thief, the little trickster. Now, from a linguistic standpoint or etymological standpoint, the word thief is kind of difficult to trace. Can't find a lot on it. One thing I did find, though, is that it seems to align with the word crouch, as in to get low, to stoop, to bring oneself down. And you think about all of the benefits of crouching. It gets us into our power center. You think about doing a squat. When you squat, you're at the bottom of the squat movement. You are basically crouching. You're flexing the knee and lowering the body down, which allows the coil to generate power to drive you back up. The crouching also allows us to be hidden. And that's that aspect of the raccoon with the mask and its association with thievery. Also, it's like I said earlier, its behavior. It is a little trickster. It gets into things, it breaks into things, it burglarizes. But if we remove the moral implication, just the crouching is hiding oneself, getting low to generate power. And if you even watch how a raccoon walks, its back has a peak and it sits up high and the head sits down low, like it's creeping. It's almost like how a cat is when the cat has identified its prey and it is ready to, and it's stalking it and it gets that head down low. That's how a raccoon naturally walks all the time. So it is always in the mode of looking for details, crouching, getting low to the earth so I don't miss anything. There's also a thing about humility, being low to the ground, as in humble, as in not being too proud. While Mercury moves retrograde, that these are also things for us to think about. Lowering ourselves, not being too proud, getting down low to see all the details, occulting ourselves when necessary, cloaking ourselves when necessary, and striking when the moment is best. Very interesting, this raccoon. At the start of Mercury's retrograde, it was at 27 degrees of Aries and in an out of sign square to Pluto at 1 degree of Aquarius. When Mercury, which for one deals with our mind, is in hard aspect to Pluto, we are forced to dig for the answers because Pluto applies pressure. It is an energy that represents the underworld. And Mercury, when in contact with Pluto, is triggered, is energized, is compelled to dig deep to find answers. So there's some type of energy around the beginning of this retrograde cycle of we got to go and hunt for it. We got to dig for it. And we're going backwards. The whole idea of retrograde, the word re, is going over something again. And one of the best ways to handle retrograde is to slow down and there's that re word, that prefix again, review things, dig a little bit deeper. Maybe I missed something. So I have this little creature and possibly a whole family in my ceiling, and it has these 3/4 inch non-retractable claws. These things are deadly. And it's constantly scurrying and scratching and scurrying and scratching. The Christ energy in us, we have to scratch to find it. We have to rub, like rubbing the genie's lamp, Aladdin's lamp. You have to rub and see how the symbolism is put right in front of us, but we a lot of times don't know what we're really looking at. The rubbing is the anointing to bring forth what is hidden. The scratching is the digging and the pulling away, the removal of the surface to get down to what is beneath. That's how those two conjoin and relate to each other. The raccoon, some things about the raccoon. The raccoon will eat almost anything available during this retrograde phase, and as we're approach life in general. This is a teaching moment. The raccoon would eat almost anything available, which we could say is telling us to be open to truth wherever we may find it. Because the raccoon is open to food wherever it finds it. It digs. It's going to find some food. About 11 o'clock every night, I could hear it. We got kind of like the vaulted ceiling, and then it's got that little drop down on the edges, and that's where it kind of burrowed itself in. And around 11, I would hear it pull itself up, walk out, get to that uh, vent cover where it was getting in, and scurry out, and it would go to get food. I don't know where it was getting the food, but it was going to find some type of way to get food. So it's a lesson for us to seek truth as the food, wherever we can find it, which then leads back to a previous video I did um, when I was talking about the symbolism behind number 19 and how 91 is a reflection. And what's interesting is that 91, one of the words, Hebrew words associated, is manna. And when we spell out manna, mem, nun, aleph, that adds up to 91. Now, manna is divine nourishment, i.e., food. It's a divine food that is available to those who desire to eat it, who are hungry, and who will accept it as food. As a result of receiving this manna, the recipients then have life. And life correlates with the number 19 as Chava. Chava for Eve. Chava is spelled with a chet, a va, and a hey. And that adds up to 19. So raccoon goes out and hunts for food wherever it can find it, because that food is necessary to maintain its existence, its life. We must hunt for manna because that manna gives us life. Chava, the raccoon wears a mask, a reminder of the presence of spirit, and that the mask we wear, in astrology, the rising sign, is more than just our personality and our ego, and it's more than just our appearance. Your rising sign is one of your ways of interfacing with spirit. You think about indigenous cultures. 9 times out of 10, there would be some form of ritual incorporating masks. Why? Because the mask is how spirit interfaces with us and individually, but more importantly, how spirit interfaces with the world through us. Rising sign. It's not just superficial. It is how spirit is interfacing with the world at large, with other, through us. So maybe the raccoon is also reminding us to be a vessel, to be an interface, to be a conduit for spirit to do its work. The mask also teaches us to only reveal that which is supposed to be revealed at a particular time. Only reveal that which is supposed to be revealed. But it also says to dig into the hidden realms of self to find what has been masked or occulted or hidden. Now, we call out the animal rescue guy and first call one company. They send this young guy out here and he comes in and, how you doing, boss? And nothing makes my blood boil more than being referred to as chief or boss. So I said, okay, Jamal, let's just just see what he has to say. Don't get irritated. Be patient. Be patient, Jamal. So I let him go through his spiel, and he gives us a quote, gives me a quote at the end. And I was gonna actually go ahead because I said the process seemed very thorough, but source said, keep looking, keep looking. So I go back on Google and I find another company, and I also read reviews, and it's review after review, kudos, and this one guy seems to have replied to all the reviews. This David. So I'm guessing this is the owner, and he's the like a one-man show, which he is. I decide I'm gonna call him. Let him come out. I come out. This guy is in his mid-60s, but he's referring to me as sir, 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 sir. And I don't need my ego stroked, but I like to be shown respect because I give people respect. So immediately I said, okay, I like this guy, at least on a basic human level. And so he comes. It's a one man operation, so it's simple, nothing elaborate, but the price is better. And he's excellent communicator. He says everything he's going to do, especially as this is in the midst of Mercury retrograde. It's important to be very redundant and to be very intentional in your communication with Mercury retrograde. So I appreciate that. So decided to go with him. He shows up. He sets 4 traps in the backyard. The next morning, we got a huge mama raccoon trapped, and it was angry and it was digging. Now you got to think the trap is made with basically a grid like structure. So each little grid is about a ½ inch by ½ inch. This raccoon was so determined to get out of this trap just by using its claws to get through that little space. It dug a hole around the whole trap. It probably dug out 5, 6 inches of dirt, just determined. Just it would get tired and stop, and it would go again, and it would look around and go up and grab on the they're very intelligent, very, very intelligent, dangerously intelligent, and would back up into the cage. Then it would turn around. Well, maybe if I try this way and dig or scratch. This raccoon kept scratching and scratching, looking for a way to get out. And one of the attributes of the raccoon is they are very adaptable. They adapt remarkably well because that's how they survive. They'll eat anything, they adapt to any situation, which is why they can survive in an urban environment. So this little creature is digging and it is angry. And when I'm looking through the blinds and it recognizes me looking through the blinds and that piercing look that it has, just on alert. And you got to think how distraught the mother must be, separated from the babies. The babies are still so young, they can't walk yet because, well, they can scurry, but they can't actually move because their eyes aren't open yet. So he's got the mama caught. And when he goes out to move the cage, this guy charges a lot of money. Not as much as the other company, but it's still a lot of money. When I saw how that raccoon was barking and charging at him, I said, oh, yeah, it was worth paying to have somebody to come get this. So he gets the zip tie on the cage to make sure that the raccoon cannot escape for sure. Then he has to go and cut a hole out of the ceiling because he's using the thermal imager and he finds for sure there's still something still up there, but we're pretty sure it's the babies. So he goes and pulls out 5 kits. That's what they call the baby raccoons, kits, and puts them in a little safe place for them to be, a cage, and he carefully wraps them. And you can tell this guy's an animal lover. Wraps them up safely and eventually gets them out, reunites them with the mother in the truck. But so again, my mind's still running. Got a raccoon, all the symbolism around the raccoon, but it's 5. Why 5 kits? So I want to give you some things that trigger my mind around this. The mama raccoon had a litter of 5. But when she was captured, she kept digging. She never stopped fighting for her litter. It seemed like all hope was lost. So she did all she could do. And the rest was in the hands of, we could say, the divine. Even for her in the animal kingdom, there was something greater than her, a greater purpose that she had to rely upon because she wasn't getting out. But on the same token, she used all her might to dig as hard as she could to get to her litter. The 5th house in the astrological chart is associated with, for one, children. It's also what we create individually. And there are a lot of other things associated with the 5th house, but we're going to focus on just those 2. Personal creation. And one of the things we can personally create is a child. So the 5th house of children. So it's like, fight for your children. Could be literally that, or it could be fight for what you have to create. The 5th house is also the natural domicile of the sun. So we're talking about fight for yourself, because the sun in the 5th house in Leo is the self. It is self-realization. It is self-confidence. It is self-acknowledgement. because that's where I shine, and I shine the brightest through what I create, through being sure of myself. You see, the first house is naturally Aryan. It's Aries. It's I'm a seed. The fifth house is I've actually sprouted into a piece of ripe fruit. I'm ready. So it could be that some of us are feeling like the fruit is ripened and we're ready to be harvested to continue the journey, but it may seem like it's taking too long. Raccoon kept digging, kept digging, kept digging. So it's almost like a reminder to do what you can do. And then when you've done all you can do, then trust that the divine process works itself out in the end. When it's all said and done, it works itself out. Coupled with that, making sure that you are adapting as necessary, that you're being pliable, fluid, that you're reviewing and going back over things to see that I missed something, did I leave something on the table. The 5 is also associated with Venus, and Venus is the goddess that unites and brings energy together for creation. Love is a fire. Love creates. And Venus, through bringing two together, it's the rubbing. That's the rubbing process that we need when we take two sticks, and the friction that happens between the two from the rubbing creates fire. Or it'd be better said, it brings fire forth. Fire already exists in another dimension, but when we have union, and that union creates energy between the two opposing points, it brings forth the fire from another dimension into this one, because fire is pre-existent. So that 5 is a reminder around that Venusian quality of bringing things together. If you're in a relationship, be thinking about how can we create or bring fire forth, because there's a lot of energy out here that is convincing you that you are at war with your counterpart in love, to be at war, because there's a realization on a metaphysical level of what power is possessed between two opposites coming together and finding some type of middle ground. That's the highest power in the cosmos. The 5 is also associated with the 5th letter in the Hebrew alphabet, which is the Hey. And each letter in the Hebrew alphabet has symbolic significance. The Hey, look, behold. It also is a window. All these things point back to light. Look, behold, there must be light for you, because it's talking about seeing. Look, behold, see there. Window is for seeing. So there's something here about don't forfeit the vision. Don't forfeit the vision, and don't lose sight of the vision. Behold, lo, look there. Look out the window. The light is shining. See, don't forfeit the vision. Hold on to it. And while we have this time of Mercury retrograde from April 2nd to April 25th, I think the 25th is when it stations direct. Utilize this time to dig, to adapt, and to not lose sight of the vision in spite of all of the distractions that are surrounding us. There are a million reasons to give up. There are a million reasons to throw the towel in, to go and ball up in fear in some corner somewhere. Every other second, somebody telling you the world's about to end. This is going to happen. That there are rumors of war and all. But at the end of the day, all you got is what you do now, what energy you create right now, how you utilize your time right now. What are you focused on right now? All we got is a series of nows. And those nows eventually become a past and a future. But it's all a bunch of nows. The raccoon does not squander its now. Be adaptive, be focused, be open to learning, remain a visionary, and maybe most importantly, be patient. For private readings, I'm available through my website, 720astrology.com. Know the stars to know yourself. Peace.